Hey everyone. I'm really excited to be back today to share more of the great new features of the Appian platform. But before I do that, I want to talk for a few minutes about the philosophy that drives us. Yesterday, you heard about our Low Code for All program, which creates an affordable and accessible path to a career in low-code development for all individuals, regardless of background, education, or experience. This is one manifestation of our belief that anyone can become a software developer, but it's not all we're doing. In addition to reducing barriers to becoming a software development and increasing the supply of low-code developers around the world, we're also simplifying software development itself. There's this great quote by Leonardo da Vinci that says, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Now, what he means by this is that it's relatively easy to make something clunky or complex. But what's really elegant, what's really sophisticated, and what's considerably harder is taking that same thing and making it as easy as it can be. In my role running product management at Appian, we spend a lot of time thinking about simplicity, about how to take all the power of software development, but make it so easy that anyone can learn it, anyone can use it. Getting it right is really hard, and there's a set of compromises that people tend to make when trying to simplify. And it's easy to illustrate by taking a look at one of my kids' toys. I have 3 boys back at home, as you can see, and this fun little guy was the first remote control toy for all 3 of them, right at around 2 years old. And they loved it. But I want you to notice something about the control. On the right, there's a button to go forward, and on the left, there's a button that spins it around in circles. No reverse, no turn left, no turn right, 2 big buttons, very simple. Now, for a 2-year-old that just wants to make it go, it's great. But if you fast forward to when they were 4 years old, this same toy was incredibly frustrating to all of them. And the difference was that when they were older, they actually wanted to do something specific with it, like run it into one of their brothers. And I know, because I tried, that you cannot easily translate your intentions through these controls to get the outcome that you want. And we see the same challenge in the world of software all the time. To try to seem easy, vendors take away choice, or they reduce capability, which ends up making it harder, not easier, to get what you want. But your applications aren't toys, and your developers aren't children, which is why we work tirelessly to give you all the power you need to make robust, scalable, enterprise, mission-critical applications with uncompromising simplicity. We deliver a low-code developer experience for making beautiful web and mobile interfaces, scalable business rules, and dynamic workflows, all of the enterprise DevOps capabilities that you need to securely test, deploy, monitor, and optimize your business applications using low code, a powerful data fabric to tap into all the enterprise data sources, bring them together, and elevate the value of that business, that data, making it available across all your applications with fast reporting and point-and-click security configurations, and the ability to use industry-leading automation technologies to augment your human capital, like APIs, RPA bots, and machine learning. Simplicity starts with a product design philosophy that changes the paradigm of how we work with computers. It used to be that we forced all developers to express their intentions in a language that computers understood, in code. This required a steep learning curve and knowledge of detailed syntax and methods in order to be productive. Low code flips the script. Now we teach computers how to understand human intent by using visual and declarative techniques. The Appian process modeler is a great example of this, where humans can easily draw what they want for the computer to interpret and execute. And the applications that you build with low code in Appian need to be efficient, reliable, secure, and easy to change. Our engineering teams focus on making a platform that does this for you automatically and seamlessly. We want our customers to know that when they deploy applications on Appian, they're inherently reliable and secure. We designed the product to provide feedback to developers at every opportunity to ensure that they know how to improve their application designs. And we let you see how those applications are performing in production so you can adapt them as conditions change. When it comes to building new applications, enterprise data is the foundation on which we build. We've seen all of our customers struggle with the challenges of accessing, wrangling, and optimizing enterprise data in order to support the speed that low-code development is capable of achieving. And this is why, for the past few years, Appian Records has been one of our biggest investments. Records today are designed to unify your enterprise data in a data fabric, quickly connect to data from multiple sources, and bring it into a single model to support rapid app delivery. Appian Records automatically transforms the data to ensure top performance as you build. And now with the strong foundation of records, we can deliver value to your business through the use of automation. Appian provides the most comprehensive set of automation capabilities in our industry. Having grown up as a leader in business process management, we now have robotic process automation, API integration, business rule management, and artificial intelligence in a tightly integrated suite that accelerates your time to value. And to share more about this topic, I'd like to invite Jake up here to talk about some of our latest product innovations.
All right, thanks, Adam. And hello to all you fellow awesome humans in the crowd. Yeah, that's right, humans are awesome. Now, that might seem like a strange way to kick off a talk about automation, but just think about it. Humans are really good at a lot of things. We can communicate, collaborate, design, build, and innovate. We're pretty awesome. But we're not great at everything. There's a limit to how much data we can consume. We get tired at the end of a long day, and we get cranky if we miss lunch. And we don't necessarily love all the things that we do. How many times have you guys heard, I really love my job, but I wish I could do more copy-paste? Yeah, probably not too often. So instead of having everybody banging their heads against the wall, when I have a task, or when I have a decision, I want a system to help me do it, or do it for me. And that's the essence of automation, helping get work done, while of course maintaining human oversight. And automation can provide tremendous benefits. Maybe there's the obvious one, cost savings. But if you've been challenged by the pandemic, or if you want to rise to new opportunities, or if you want to focus on retaining the best talent, automation is going to help you. Automation helped one of our customers in the healthcare industry. By using Appian to automate their business processes, they've saved time and money, they've improved compliance, and their employees get to focus on what they're best at. Now, yesterday Alexis showed you how Appian supports field service requests for an escalator manufacturer. Our manufacturer is committed to a zero-carbon future with an initiative to track and reduce environmental impacts using Appian. They're tracking carbon emissions across 3 different areas of their business: energy, transportation, and waste. So now let's imagine that you run this business and explore how automation can help. You can drill into the dashboard for energy consumption for just one production plant, maybe this one located in the UK. The plant uses both electricity and natural gas. Notice that the electricity usage hasn't been updated for October. Now, you could simply task someone to manually find the answer every month for every plant, but instead you want to automate the data collection. And to do that, you'll need a few different automation tools. The plant's energy use is reported on your utility bills. You get bills for both electricity and natural gas, so you'll use Appian's intelligent document processing to first identify the type of the bill and then extract the energy use data. To get the associated carbon emissions, you'll call a web service from the utilities company using Appian's low-code integrations. And then you'll use Appian business rules to calculate the total emissions impact and store the result in Appian using our low-code data capabilities. Once the data is updated, you can easily visualize the energy usage on the dashboard. Now, Annalise will tell you more about our great low-code data features in just a few minutes, but let's start with our automation story with these utility bills. So, gas and electric bills look a bit similar, but they have some different information, and you have to process them differently to get the carbon impact. You can use Appian Intelligent Document Processing to automatically route each utility bill using a machine learning classification model. Using just a handful of recent electric and natural gas bills, we can train the model, and as soon as the model is trained, it's ready to use. So when a new utility bill arrives, the model automatically identifies whether it's electricity or natural gas. And from there, you can route the bill for extraction and processing. And of course, in Appian, human oversight is always available. So if the model isn't sure what kind of bill it is, you can easily route it to a human for the final decision. IDP captures those decisions and will automatically retrain and improve your model over time. All right, so in this case, you're processing an electric bill and we're extracting the information. Even though this is the first time IDP is seeing this type of bill, you already get some fields automatically mapped. You can review the extracted fields by clicking on them, and Appian will highlight the matched location in the document. And you can quickly map any additional fields by simply clicking on the text in the document and then clicking on the field. You can also select multiple words or lines as a group. And this simple and efficient point-and-click interface makes it easy to extract the information that you need. Now, Appian also identifies checkboxes, and in this document, can help identify and extract tables. After selecting the table, you can remove unnecessary columns. You can map the table headers to your structure. And you can do other cleanup, like removing blank rows. Appian will remember all these cleanup activities for the next extraction. So the result is full extraction of this utility bill. Appian is helping you get this task done more quickly and effectively. Now, Appian document extraction uses computer vision and machine learning, not templates. So the system learns how to extract from your documents, improving extraction performance over time. So the next time you get a utility bill like that one, all those fields will be automatically extracted, including the tables. So now you no longer need a human to look at those electrical bills. Appian is now doing the task for you. So last fall, we announced that Appian provides document extraction as a native capability for all Appian Cloud customers. We still support Google as a provider, but when you use Appian, we include 20,000 pages a month for no additional cost. And coming in 22.2, we've improved handling of scanned documents and documents with handwriting. OK, so you've extracted the electricity use from the bill. Now you call the utilities web service to find out carbon emissions. To call the utilities web service, you'll configure a low-code integration. You can enter details here like the web service endpoint, map inputs like the regional postcode for that plant, and the date range that you want to find the emissions for. You can also define test values for all of those inputs. When you run your integration, Appian calls the web service using the parameters that you provided. The web service returns the carbon emissions for that location and date range. Now, API integrations like this are great because they're fast and they have consistent inputs and outputs, so they're less likely to break like other methods like RPA. Back in Appian, you can view the results to confirm that everything worked as expected and that you've got the emissions data that you need. So we've extracted energy usage from the utility bill using IDP, and we've retrieved the carbon emissions data from the utility web service using low-code integrations. That's two different types of automation technology. Now, we'll combine them with a few business rules and then store the result using low-code data capabilities so that they can be used by the rest of the application. So you've now built a fully automated solution that fills in the missing data on your dashboard. Think about the time that you'll save across multiple plants each month. And not only that, but your reporting is more up to date, so improving compliance and allowing you to make decisions faster. All right, so you've handled energy. Now let's look at transportation. This plant uses 2 third-party logistics carriers for distribution. You need to get route information from all shipments in order to calculate transportation emissions. The first carrier has a web service, so you can call their API using a low-code integration like we just saw earlier. But the other carrier doesn't have a web service. However, with Appian, you can still grab the shipment details from their website using robotic process automation. And in Appian, creating a robotic task is easier than ever before. As you interact with the shipment website, our task recorder captures each step in the flow. It's smart, so it knows when you're entering a password and it won't expose sensitive information. As you work, the task recorder makes it easy to see what you can click on and what's being captured. And the recorder provides immediate feedback to prevent mistakes along the way. You can create new variables to save extracted data as you record. You can even set up conditional logic based on what's on the screen. So here we've captured the list of the shipments, and now we'll go through and we'll capture the details of a shipment. That's the description, the ship date, the distance traveled, the weight, all the information available from this website. Once we've captured the basic steps, we can complete the recording. Now, when you're done recording, the steps are automatically added to your robotic process in our low-code designer. In the designer, you can securely configure login credentials and add other logic like loops and additional actions. So in the recording, we captured the list of shipments. into a variable, and now we can configure the designer to loop over that list and process each shipment. You can use expressions to access the entire power of the Appian platform. Reference rules, transform extracted data, query low-code data in Appian, or pull from external databases or API integrations right from your robotic process. Now, when you're ready to test, kick off the robotic task using our debugger. As the process runs, you can see the progress of execution in real time. You can pause and resume the execution. You can step through individual actions, set breakpoints. As you follow along with the execution, you can watch as variables are being updated. As you can see in the process, it's looping over those shipments and extracting the details from each one. And combined, these tools make it very easy to quickly validate your flow. So we've rebuilt RPA for low code. You can record your actions, you can drag and drop with low code, and you can quickly validate with visual execution monitoring and debugging. Now, in addition to everything you just saw, we have also made a few other improvements. We've improved support for browser and web applications, adding more low-code actions, and automatically managing web drivers for you. We've made performance enhancements, so you'll see faster average handle times, even as you scale up your RPA deployment. And we've added additional low-code actions for Windows, with Windows recording coming soon. Now, RPA is great for automating individual tasks, especially when you can't use an API integration. But whether you're using a robotic task, or you're calling an API, or you're using AI for document processing, these tasks aren't happening in isolation. They're taking place as part of your broader business processes. With Appian, you're able to bring everything together in the same process model. And we've made some improvements to our process modeler, too, starting with a new look for the Smart Services palette so you can more quickly access the full breadth of Appian's automation capabilities. You can easily find Smart Services to interact with databases or web services, send emails, generate documents, and much more. We've also improved search. In addition to matching Smart Services, in 22.2, we also show matching design objects directly in the search results. So when you drag and drop out an interface, we'll automatically create a user input task with that interface pre-configured. So now you can quickly include that new task into your workflow. Now, you can also search for process models. If you find a process model and you drag that out, we'll automatically configure the sub-process node for you. And if we're looking for that API integration that we built earlier, we can search for that as well. And when we drag that node out, we'll automatically configure the Smart Service for that as well. So now not only can you combine robots and APIs, AI and humans, all in one workflow, but we're making it easier than ever. So Appian gives you a complete set of capabilities. We've got process automation with RPA, APIs, business rules, and an entire palette of automation smart services. We've got cognitive automation with AI and machine learning to help with data intake and decisioning. And of course, we bring your people into the process too, with tasks, records, and reports available wherever your people work across desktop, mobile, or portals. Because humans are awesome. You guys are awesome. Your employees, your coworkers, they're awesome too. So let's make the most of them with automation that works for people. And speaking of awesome people, now back to Adam.
All right, I think we can all agree that that was awesome. So stepping back, you've just seen an update on our latest automation capabilities. And yesterday, we showed off some of the great new innovations that you can use to build better, farther-reaching applications than ever before. And we introduced you to Appian Process Mining. What binds all these together is our relentless focus on making it fast and easy to build applications using all these great features. I'm going to have Annalise come out now to show off all the great improvements that we've made in 22.2 to the low-code developer experience.
Thanks, Adam. Good morning. Democratizing low-code requires us to double down on simplicity and speed as we expand the capabilities of the platform mining, automation, UI, analytics, it is our imperative that your new developers learn Appian quickly and be able to change and adapt your apps as your requirements and business priorities change. Simplicity and speed continue to be our design pillars so that everyone can make an impact through software. And I'm excited to be here today to share a few highlights from our upcoming release, because we've once again transformed the Appian design experience. Democratizing low-code starts with the front page, your first impression, and your first few clicks, which is why right as you log in, you'll notice our newly redesigned starting page. We've reorganized the content a bit. You'll find familiar options in the collapsible left nav. On the right, we've made it easier to reach common destinations on Appian Community, where you can engage in conversations, share tips and tricks, and access online training courses to refine your craft. Yesterday, Alexis showed the service request app for equipment repair. She showed you how the end user would experience the app. So today, we'll show you how you'll get started building it. Let's go create a new application and call it Service Request Hub. Some fields are pre-populated to help newer developers follow best practices. The main application roles and access levels look good, so let's save it. And we're taken to our brand new application, and you'll see how we've humanized this critical initial experience to be more helpful to new users. Experienced developers will find their usual content on the left-hand side. And on the right, teams can start by organizing their work into story packages and upload or link reference documentations, requirements, so that it's easily available for reference later. No more having to hunt it down. Now, the most common place to start is with data. So let's create a new record type to define the data model for repair requests. Let's check out the access controls. That looks good. Next, we'll set up the data and pick database, since that's where the data lives. We'll also opt to sync the data. That's how we can take advantage of all the low-code data capabilities. We'll find the service request table. We'll skip the filtering options for now and set up the record fields. We can come back and change any of these at any time. This isn't the first application for our elevator company, and other types of records have already been created. So we'll simply reuse them and relate them to our new repair request record type. We'll have repairs reference equipment installation information so that our users don't have to re-enter it every time. Let's pick the fields that connect them. Repairs have a status lookup table as well that we'll reference. Repairs will be assigned to technicians. Technician information is stored in an external system, but luckily, we can just reuse the official record here. We'll also need repairs to reference specific parts, and each repair may need multiple parts ordered. All right, we've got what we need. Each of the entity that we pointed to also had connections of their own. So now, not only is our new application way more valuable, but its very addition to this network has enriched every other application and created this 360 complete view of your business. All right, so we have the data set up. Let's work on the user interface where we'll bring to bear all this information. For these, we'll use the quick builders that give you a head start. Click on Generate View. Let's see, let's get there. Right, now we can click on Generate View and pick the related records that you want to display in the summary UI for each request. This point-and-click experience will generate all the objects we need. And you can make any changes you want, like rearranging grid columns, using drag and drop, adding interactivity to the UI. Every section and field on this interface is pulling information from our connected data set. All right, now let's make it possible for users to enter new repair requests. Let's head over to Record Actions. We'll only take care of the create action for now. Let's click through the simple wizard steps, and we're done. Let's check what we've built so far. We'll go to the user environment. Here's the list of repair requests with data from your database. We'll enter a new one. We'll fill out the fields and take a look at its details. All right, this is the record summary UI that we created. Well done, everyone. We have our first round-trip functionality completed already. We accessed data, we combined it, showed in the user interface, and took action on the data. This is the point at which we'd create a report dashboard that pulls together all the data we've collected onto a user interface. But since Alexis showed this yesterday, we'll do something a bit different today. Today, we'll use data analytics to route process flow that coordinates work between people and bots. Let's open the process model that was generated just now for our record action. That's the one that runs every time a new repair request comes in. We want to check for parts from various vendors. Depending on availability, we may have to submit a request on a mainframe system using a robotic process. And if there's none, we'll send a task to a manager for review. For our conditional logic here, we could query the record data from right here, but it's good practice to create a reusable rule for that. Makes it that much easier to test and keeps the functionality modular. Now, a few minutes ago, Jake showed you a robotic process that pulls data from a web page, but we can also use RPA to interact with a mainframe system. Now, let's set up the data query to figure out parts availability. We'll use our latest query editing experience for this. Let's pick the record type, preview the data. The first thing you'll do is set up the inputs to this rule. These values will be dynamic because the parts and quantity we need will depend on each repair request. Let's switch to aggregations, and we'll group the data that comes back by vendor and part. We'll also want to calculate quantity and get minimum price from each vendor. Next, we'll add some filters that will use the data coming in from process. Right, so this is all dynamic data. And our last step will be to sort the data that's returned by minimum price. We'll go ahead and test it out from right here and make sure everything looks good. Now, all that's left is to call our rule from the process model. As we just saw, leveraging real-time analytics with low-code data to route your processes is easier than it's ever been. OK, so let's keep adding more features to our repair request record. Each repair request has a specific set of people who have permission to see it. That access depends on the status of the repair and the role of the person looking at the data. Role and data-driven security is an essential and common aspect of app development. And yet, it's typically challenging and time-consuming because every system does it differently. And app developers often run into major performance issues as they wrangle data from one system to the other to figure out who can access what. And once it's set up just right, it's like a tower of cards that feels impossible to understand and very risky to change. But there is a better way. Let's see what it looks like in Appian. Start by creating a security rule. Let's say that all supervisors can see all repairs using group-based security here, and all triages can see unassigned repairs. Next, this is where we're going to go and set up security rule based on the data. We'll say that technicians can see the repairs that are assigned to them, and customers can see their repairs. And we'll go further than that. We'll say that regional managers can see repairs for all the customers in their region. We'll do a pop quiz. How many of you here would be able to tell me how many different data sources we just set up? Putting everyone on the spot here. Don't worry, it's not because of last night. It went fast because it was that easy. So we'll break it down for you. This is a blown-up view of that data network that we set up just earlier, showing all the connections. The security rules for our repair request data sounded simple enough, yet required us to go through 5 layers of relationships, joining 6 different data entities, and we did it twice too, across 3 different types of data sources. Now, testing security is notoriously tedious, but not here. Let's go over to the right pane and check with Paul Foon, who shouldn't have any access. 0 records, that's right. Now, I'm in the repair supervisors group, so let's try it out. And that's correct, I can see all repairs, and we can take a look to make sure they're the right ones. And we're done. We can save our changes, and they'll immediately take effect everywhere that the record is used. By configuring security rules on the record type itself and basing it on the data, we're making sure that these rules get applied everywhere that the record is used, anywhere, and not just in our application, but also any application that decides to use it in the future. Every dashboard, form, report, APIs, the same security rules apply when you use low-code data. Low-code data is key to simplicity and speed in application development. What we just demonstrated just now are some of the most complicated tasks in an application, tasks that used to require a level of technical expertise, frankly, frustrations, that's in high demand. We went beyond connectors to each system. We combined the data and used them throughout the platform. We applied dynamic record-level security that changes as the data changes on the fly. And we didn't talk about data transactions, indices, Stark schemas, joins. And performance is automatically guaranteed. No tedious manual tuning or expensive scale testing. We tested with typical data models, like what we showed earlier, at scale, joining across multiple layers of nested data and assigning fairly complex security rules. And we consistently fare better when we compare equivalent functionality with reasonably tuned databases. And performance gets better automatically on upgrade. For instance, queries that combine data using text-based keys will be as much as 8 times faster when you upgrade to 22.1 that we released a few months ago. And on 22.2, when you upgrade, syncing will be as much as 2 times faster. We can do this because of our innovation in the data architecture that's the backbone of low-code data. We build an internal network of the data on the fly that is optimized for performance. This fluid layer in the center, this data fabric, is ready to be used by all your applications as soon as we click Save in the design interface. And you can change it at any time. Don't wait for 6 months for a new data field or to connect to a new data set. We launched this new low-code approach to data last year, and the response has been fantastic. Thank you, and I know many of you are here today. And you've shared your amazing stories with us, as well as your feedback. So today, I want to address a few of the top requests that we've heard. The first is about real-time data, in particular, incremental sync, as some have called it. Now, say the user enters a new repair request. The data is immediately available in both your source database and your synced record in Appian. But say Adam changes the customer account details directly in Salesforce or a third-party tool. Now, not our Adam Glazer, he wouldn't do that. He'd want the changes reflected immediately in Appian. Well, I'm happy to announce that with 22.2, you'll be able to do just that with the new Sync Records Smart Service. And we've made it easy to get started with a guided design experience. Say you wanted to capture real-time updates when data changes in a system like Salesforce. Let's take a look. Let's navigate to Customer, which is synced from Salesforce. And we'll create an endpoint, an API, that Salesforce will call every time there's a change to account detail, to the customer account detail. And that's it. Now, you simply need to set up a webhook in Salesforce that calls this API, and anytime data changes, and Appian will pick it up. This is an exciting addition for us because it expands the number of data sources that can participate in low-code data. And if we look back at this data security configuration we did earlier, real-time data updates means that a change to the customer contact in Salesforce will immediately be reflected in our repair request security rule, and therefore everywhere that the record is used in our application. That is simplicity for us, and that is the power of Appian low-code. I'm also happy to share that we intend to increase the amount of data that will sync with guaranteed performance to at least 2 million rows per record type later this year. Now, back to our service request application. There's one last thing that you may want to do before you move on. Every past version of the record type is now available from right here. You can open up each diff to see what changed in between versions and go back to an old one if needed. Sometimes the old one was the right one. Now, say you've built out your application fully and you have a new team member join the project. As you build up your team, the need to onboard a new low-code developer probably happens quite frequently. And the job of explaining the app architecture and design ends up falling on an experienced member of the team, the busiest person. This is why we've introduced a new page called Explore, which dynamically organizes your app into its core components. Let's look at a more fully built app, the Net Zero Carbon Reporting app that we've been showcasing throughout the conference. When you open the app for the first time, the end user experiences are shown on top. Live thumbnails of each page immediately orient you towards the building blocks that you may want to start with. UIs, data, and processes are three lenses through which people approach an application. So we highlight the main data elements and processes for your application. Our relevance algorithm figures out dynamically which ones to show any changes as you build the app. At a glance, you can see where the data is sourced from and which processes are driven by people, bots, and AI. And we know it's important to see the landscape of data integrations coming in and out of the system. So these are highlighted on the page as well. Every element here is interactive. As you're browsing and ramping up on this app, you'd likely want to explore further, say navigating the data relationships network, or checking out which actions are available on which record. This new way of exploring an app, this self-documenting view of your application architecture will make a big difference in how fast you ramp up new and experienced developers. And we can't wait for you to give it a try. So there you go. Simplicity and speed at the core of our low-code platform. Every release, all while expanding what you can do, how much you can do, so that you can make an impact on your world. Adam, back to you.
Thank you, Annalise. So you've heard a lot from a lot of different folks over the course of the conference about Appian's drive to democratize low-code, to make it easier and more accessible than ever before. But our journey along this path did not start yesterday. In fact, a little less than a year ago, we introduced Appian Community Edition, which provides free, unlimited time, self-service cloud sites for individual developers. I'm happy to announce that since we launched it, we've seen the creation of over 18,000 Community Edition sites. These personal development environments are available to you within minutes of requesting it on Appian Community, and they have all of the capabilities that you've seen today. They have RPA, IDP, low-code data, and more. They're updated with each and every release of Appian, so you can get your hands on the latest features and start evaluating them or learning them. And we're always making improvements to Community Edition. Available now, these sites and all the great learning content within them are fully internationalized for our Japanese and Spanish-speaking developers. It's just another way that we're reducing the barriers to becoming a low-code developer. And speaking of that, there's another capability exclusive to Community Edition that I'm excited to show you today. We've now put dynamic, guided, in-product learning directly into these sites. Developers will be greeted by the new option to get an overview of capabilities as we add them, or to follow step-by-step instructions to accomplish tasks on their way to learning how these features work. Community Edition with in-product learning are a great accompaniment to Appian Academy Online, which is our free online training for low-code developers. Before I close out, there's one more kind of simplicity that I want to talk about, which is the simplicity of not having to worry about your business applications. Appian is enterprise grade. We run large-scale, mission-critical systems across government and private sector industries around the globe. We have best-in-class uptime in our cloud and a high availability option with unmatched SLAs. We maintain the most comprehensive set of security certifications in our industry, with everything from SOC 2 to PCI, HIPAA, and Appian Government Cloud at Impact Level 5. We take the responsibility to protect your applications and your data extremely seriously. So whatever your deployment, reliability, security, or scalability requirements are, Appian's ready for you. It's just that simple. Thank you very much.